And Mark joins us now live, as he is prone to do. We love him. He's also going to have some good Jalen Hurts stuff, because it's interesting. Green Bay and Philadelphia are now run-first teams, despite having enormous talent. Let me ask you about this. I said this the other day. I think Rex Ryan back to the Jets fits, because I think they need a culture guy. And Rex is loud, and he doesn't care what you think, and you can't whimper into New York. But now, Harbaugh's personality is quirkier, but similarly authentic. He has taken the same defense, the same dudes, and now you're starting looking at film for your game, Bucs-Chargers. Is it a schematic thing? Like, how can you take worst to first, Mark? Explain that.
It happens every year, it seems to, at least. In one of the divisions, some team just surprises everybody. And then it's the sustainability of that surprise and their resurgence. But I think when it comes to the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh, it's important to look at their schedule. They're beating up or winning the games that they should win.
Yes.
And they're getting quality wins, right? Then in the big-time games, maybe against Baltimore, maybe against Kansas City,
yes,
they're competitive till the end. They're not getting blown off the map.
That's
so
right.
Now you're building this equity, sweat equity, and confidence equity, if you will, with that staff, with the players. You give them a little bit. They see success. They want to go back to that well. Hey, give me more. Coach me harder. Teach me something new. Give me the big picture. They are completely bought in. And you can tell. Now, the ball's going to bounce one way or the other.
Sure.
Do I think they have the roster to win the Super Bowl this year? That'd be a stretch.
I feel
it'd be a real stretch, you know? But that doesn't mean their next step has to be Super Bowl. I mean, if they get into the playoffs, if they beat out Denver for this wild card in the AFC West, because the Chiefs already got it, right? If they can be a wild card team and get in the playoffs, you never know. Go back to 2009. We weren't supposed to go to the playoffs. We went to bed after losing to Atlanta, and we thought we were out of the playoffs. The very next day, we showed up at the facility, and Rex said, hey, we're winning, we're in. We're like, whoa, we got in, and not only did we get in, we won two.
Wow.
So the Chargers could easily do that. You get somebody sustains a big injury before the bye week. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen. So just getting in that tournament is really the next rung on the ladder for them.
Yeah.
And they got some good games down the stretch.
It's I asked Josh McDaniel this. I said, we always look at winning close games as valuable. Mm-hmm. And I said, but it could be exhausting. First of all, when you win close games, it's very celebratory. You know, at halftime, the Lions, half the time, they're just trying to eat the clock and get back on the flight.
A lot of 4-minute offense prep.
Yeah,
or
right.
Reps.
So I look at Kansas City and I think, okay, here's the upside. They're winning. And then I'm like, that's a lot of crisis management. I mean, go to the team in your New York team.
Yeah.
Was a lot of close, tough, physical, grueling wins. Does that wear on you?
It's definitely becomes an endurance issue. How long can you take it? And don't forget, they're on an incredible run right now, right? Of the last few years. So their season's longer. Everybody else starts, working out the couple weeks after their season ends, and these guys don't get to even start. They're trying to cool down from a red-hot season every year. So the longevity of the season is an issue. It becomes an endurance issue. How long can you sustain it? But the other side of the coin, if I'm Andy Reid, and I know I could all but guarantee this is how he's spinning it, they're getting more live, high-speed action reps at game management, critical situations. On the call sheet, it's GHI, got to have it. Like, this is it. This is your chance to throw that ball quarterback, fourth down, doesn't matter, has to get airborne, give your guys a chance. I mean, this is what you dream of as a kid. These are the situations you draw up in the backyard. I mean, we got 3 seconds left. We got one play to win it. They get it every week. How do we manage the clock? How do we handle all these situations? And if you're looking for a silver lining, these guys are going to be experts. All of them, all the players by now can reteach from their film the last 7 or 8 games and just go through the end of game situation as if they were the coach prepping the team for that. There's something to be said for that, because you can tell when it comes down to it, when it's got to have it, these dudes are all on the same page. And it's because they have so many reps at it.
You had a unique situation where you only knew Pete Carroll as a college coach,
right,
but he had been in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
So Belichick to Carolina. Now, Pete is different. Pete has the energy of when you had him of a 24-year-old, now it's of a 34-year-old.
Right.
That's not Belichick. He's not as charismatic as Pete is, and Pete just walks into a room and owns it, and the gum, chewing it, frenetic, whatever.
Sure.
But when you were at USC, and you didn't know the NFL at the point, but you'd gone to a great legendary high school, what did Pete bring from the NFL to college that you thought really worked? Did you feel like this is a pro coach and not a college guy?
Well, I didn't totally know the difference, to be fair.
Yeah.
At that point, I hadn't seen what that next level was like. But he brought so much energy and charisma that you alluded to. I think the other thing, too, is these kids, we want to be coached. The good ones, the good programs, find kids that want to be groomed into the best player they can be and set them up for the next level. And it felt like Pete was doing that for us. He also had that added aspect of, and I know Michael Irvin alluded to this when he spoke about Deion Sanders, but that fatherly or figure of wisdom.
Pete had that?
Yeah, absolutely, because he's not just a coach, he's a teacher. I'm not going to teach you this just for football, but these principles I'm teaching you about the hard work, being on time, no whining, no complaining, team first attitude, that's going to help you in life, whether you never play another down again. You know what I mean? So you got a lot of that.
So Pete was giving
and I think Coach Belichick has that as well. I think bottom line to this college football deal is I don't care if it's Belichick and it's hard-nosed and there's, this emotionless existence and all we're about is winning football games. Now, I think that's an exaggerated take on who he is, but he's more that than Pete and the happy, sunshine, rainbow stuff. Okay, fine. The bottom line to this college football thing is, are they going to invest enough money in paying these players? You either put money in the well of players. I'm dressed to go coach North Carolina right now. If you give me $100 million, I guarantee you I'll get a competitive roster together. And I don't know how to coach.
Yeah.
I'd find some guys who do. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying you have opportunities if you use the resources or allow them to have the resources. So as much as they're trying to figure out, is he a good fit or not, shoot, some of these kids don't really care. I want to get coached. I want to go to the NFL. He's got experience with that. He knows how to coach. How much am I making? That's what it turns into.
So before we go to the break Jalen Hurts stuff, I want to ask you something. I said the other day that I don't look at the recruiting day like I used to because the portal is about 30% of your roster. So my take
college football is the NFL, no salary cap, everybody's on a one-year deal, and no NFLPA, no Players Association.
But I am a little concerned, and I hear this from my contacts at USC, Lincoln's inability to really get any coalition among Southern California kids. Bama this year got more Southern California kids than USC. Does that concern you?
Well, I think if you're going to be a powerhouse in Southern California, you got to own California when it comes to recruiting. Back in the days when Pete Carroll was recruiting this state, and I remember Ed Ogeron talking about it. And when he'd even see other coaches show up at LAX when they're going to poach, when our coaches from SC are going to poach players from other, he would just ask them, what are you doing here? You on vacation? They're like, no, we're going to Mater Dei. We're going to Mission Viejo to go look at some players. He's like, for what? They're coming to SC, dude. You must be on vacation. They ain't going to you. So that was the whole thing, right? We had California locked down. The craziest part to me is when I'd get letters from some of these schools, I didn't know where, Tuscaloosa, Alabama was on a map. I'm sorry, I just didn't.
Yeah.
I came from SoCal. Maybe that's on me. Fine. But geographically, I didn't know where Clemson in South Carolina was. I didn't know what state Clemson was in. The fact that these guys are going from Southern California to somewhere that they can't even point out on a map in Alabama, I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. But that's the way it's been. Those teams have been better. We went through the sanctions, a lot of coaching turnover. There's a lot of factors there. Bottom line is, if you're going to be competitive, if you just lock down the top recruits in California, you're competitive in the season right away. Think about it. 2 years of the best kids in California, all 20 of them have to come to your school. I'd take it against the rest of the country any day, just like Texas would, just like Florida would. Yeah. And you'd have a legitimate chance to win ball games based on talent alone, purely talent. So if we're losing those guys
also
to these other places, then what?
I always feel recruiting local kids, the advantage is mom and dad are in town.
Oh, it's nice.
And they read the paper.
It's a wonderful thing. But some kids just want to get away.
I get it.
And it's a better situation somewhere else.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And also, hey, I could always come back to SC because there's this thing called the portal. And if it doesn't work out in year one somewhere else, then I'll just go right back. But you see the amount of players that we're getting from California, it's on a steady decline and then a sharp decline towards the end. So I think that's a real point of emphasis. You got to find the best players in California. You got to make them commit to making this school what it can be.
Okay, the ball is in Belichick's court. Carolina is working to close the deal on him. So if Bill Belichick wants it and signs it, Belichick to Carolina. Not sure it's going to work, but I think it's going to be fascinating. I will watch Carolina football.
I'm dressed for the part with my Carolina blue. Coach Belichick, I'm here. You know, nothing against Josh McDaniels, but I'm here. Yeah. Maybe I could be the quarterback coach. He'll be the signal caller.
There you go. Okay, I got 2 pieces of tape I want to show. Let's spend at least 1 minute on this. A.J. Brown unhappy, called out by a teammate with Jalen Hurts, but they're running more, yet they're winning more, and the offense is more efficient. What do you do?
I think it's good problems to have. Okay. I'd prefer to handle a lot of this stuff in-house.
Yeah.
Especially in that market. Poor Bob Lang, the PR guy from Philly, is working overtime, I'm sure, this week. So I feel for that. And I think the unhappiness or frustration for this stuff is the lack of execution on a couple different fronts, but mainly when the quarterback is dropping back to pass. I think there's a couple miscues and you know, a little bit of a misfire here or there, and he's showing that a lot of his demeanor and eyes and footwork and timing are usually in the right place, but the ball's not coming out.
Okay.
And so it's a little frustrating for the receivers is kind of what I'm gathering based on the emotional media side and then the, you know, cutthroat execution tape. So when we go to this tape,
let's go to it.
I think it's important to understand how these reads really work. And for Jalen, there is a such thing as a pure progression where no matter what, I'm going 1 through 5, or a pre-snap look where you need to know the down and distance. It's 3rd and 8.
Okay.
The defense is going to show me a look, and I have to start my progression either to the right or to the left, whatever I'm, you know, breaking down. Am I working the isolation side or the combination side, either to Devontae Smith or not? So he sees man-to-man. He's looking first at Devontae Smith. Excuse me. They're going to double him. They're going to play cloud to his side. The corner's going to bump up. The safety's going to take half the field, so he's doubled. The safeties on the other side are playing quarters. Each of them have a quarter of the field. I'm going to work the trip side in my read. I'm going to work to the right instead of working to Devontae. So Devontae's dead to me. I'm working this whole combination up top. You're working Calcaterra down the middle. If you love it, great. If not, cool. Devontae's dead. He's got doubled, right? Yeah. So we've established that. He's out. Now, Calcaterra is my alert down the middle, alive during split safety. You could argue he could rip this ball to Calcaterra on this play and have a huge explosive pass. The next guy in the slot, he's just running for the love of the game, clearing it out for who really is number 1 outside, A.J. Brown. The next progression, after you check your alert, you don't like it, you go A.J. Brown to the halfback. As soon as he gets his football, watch his feet. He's throwing a 14-yard hinge route or a Harvey on the outside of number 3, right, to A.J. Brown. I'd prefer a 3 hitch and throw. He wants to go quick 5, eyes to the right spot. He's got his eyes on number 1. He's determined from this pre-snap look, I'm going to throw it, and then the ball doesn't come out. Okay, fine. If you don't like it, that's okay. I'd argue rip that ball off of 3 steps and a hitch. If you don't like it, that's what the back's for. That is what the back's for. Dump it to him, inside shoulder. He splits the 2, first down. Fly, Eagles, fly. Well, okay, we're going to run out and do these trick shot throws on the edge and make life really hard. Now, this is where you get away with it, right? He makes up for it because he either scrambles for the first down or he makes a throw like this, right? And everything's fine. Well, let's go to this next clip, okay? They end up scoring on that drive. Let's go to the end of the first half.
Yeah.
I'm trying to double up on points. I'm trying to kick a field goal at worst, then get the ball in the 3rd quarter, which they were going to do. And now we jump this team. We lap them. Okay, where's this safety going? It's another pre-snap look. Now, this is quick game, so there's no check down. And he's got man-to-man across the board.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, how are they going to play the middle of the field? Because I need to know, am I working to the left or to the right? They're going to cut this read in half. So Jalen's looking at the back, looking at the 2 backers. He knows it's man-to-man. How are they playing the middle? They're going to banjo the back. That means whichever side the back goes to, that backer is going to take him, the other guy fill in. Now, when you do that, since the back is displaced left and then goes right, there goes the backer up top with him. He's got to take him. He's coming to my side. He's mine. Boom, this other backer fills in. There's nobody in the middle of the field. So now you got 2 in-breaking routes versus off-coverage man-to-man, inside leverage. And you got 2 top 10 receivers on the left side of the field that are ready for this. You have a great call here. You have 2 in-breaking routes versus off, inside coverage, man-to-man. Work it inside out. Catch, left foot, right foot, ball is out. To number 1 inside, to number 2 outside. That's it. Now watch him again. From the slot, there goes Devontae Smith. You don't like that? Okay, fine. Even if you make the argument that you don't like that throw, you felt this guy triggering. Okay, great. There's no excuse why this ball doesn't go to A.J. Brown. I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand. And he's done these plays before. I've seen him execute it on film. I could show you 20 clips of him doing it right.
Confidence?
I don't know if it's a confidence thing. I don't know if it's a short circuit thing. I don't know what it is. But when you go back and look at this, and then he has to jump up and just throw the ball away. This time, Devontae wasn't available for the special scramble splash play. Now it looks terrible. The other one would have looked as bad if he didn't complete the ball.
So he's got open guys.
There's guys open. And so when, A.J. Brown makes the knee-jerk reaction, emotional response, which I wish he wouldn't have, but it's clear what he's talking about is stuff like this. And it's not just him. There's other guys open, too. The ball should have gone to Saquon Barkley. The ball could have gone to Devontae Smith inside. It's not just one guy. And so, listen, is this stuff fixable? Absolutely. But it's, at some point, you got to cut that ball loose. Just let it go. Jalen, you know the reads. You know the footwork. You know where your eyes are supposed to go. Cut it loose. Hayes in the barn. You know what to do. Show me. Just let the ball out of your hand. Because he's accurate enough. He's strong enough. He makes those splash plays. It's all there for him. And so I think they're just frustrated that, they could be blowing teams out with 2 or 3 more plays that are executed a little bit better. We're talking a little bit better. And they're beating teams by 14, 21 points. So it's, I think that's where this team has to make a jump and, fix those issues relationally and execution-wise.
Okay, finally, minute and a half left. Belichick looks like the ball is in his court, according to Adam Schefter. J-Mac, you think Belichick's going to succeed at Carolina. I do not long-term. Year one, I think long-term it doesn't feel right to me. You're yay, I'm nay. You land well. You're tired.
How much do we have in the NIL slush fund? Then I'll say yes or no. Okay. Because if it's 50 million plus or whatever these big-time schools are, 7,500, yes.
For the record.
A hard yes. Okay. Are they going to be SMU or not? Where did SMU come from?
NIL.
They just suddenly won a bunch of games?
A lot of Dallas.
Where did all those players come from? Yeah. Oh, my God. They locked down all their home talent? It's crazy.
Okay.
Indiana came out of nowhere. Just transfer portal NIL. It can be done.
Give me the number, and I'll tell you yes or no. On Carolina.
Well, that's what's disturbing about USC. Their collective is up to $18 million annually, and they're 6-6.
So the other teams, where's Georgia? Where's Texas? Where's Ohio State?
Well, they were at 18. They may be at 20 now. I'm just saying that's what I'm hearing.
I think they'd be way north of that, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Bill Belichick, it's going to be Back to College, that Rodney Dangerfield movie. It's back. Bill's Back to College. I don't know. Listen. I'm in the interesting business. I'm watching their games.
Oh, 100%. I'm watching it just because of him.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.